I welcome you to Revit Tutorial Masterclass. In this training, I'll be taking you how to model buildings from beginning to being an expert. This is one of my model, and I use Revit to model this. You can see the Revit file here. This is the Revit file, and I will be taking you step by step to guide you on how you too can model something like this, and not just only this. With the experience you are going to have from here, you'll be able to model any kind of building, but we are going to be using this as our guide. And I believe if you are able to model something like this from beginning to the end, there is virtually no building you will not be able to model. Okay, in this lesson, we will learn how to create levels, how to set our dimensions, and how to set our walls. And without wasting your time, let's get started. So I am going to keep this file at the background, and I am going to open a new file. So I'll click on new. Let's save this one for now. And the version of Revit I'm using is version 2017. So what I will do now is, you can see open template file. I will click on browse, and it's going to take me to this folder. If it does not take you to this folder, you can always click on this drop down, and if your Revit file does not load well during the installation, you may not have all this file, and in that case you will need to start from an existing drawing. But because my Revit file loaded well during the installation, that is why I'm having all this. And if you look at it now, this folder is US Imperial, but the file I want to use is US Metric, because this Imperial is going to be in feet and inches, and I am not very familiar with all those feet and inches. What I'm familiar with is millimeter, and that is a metric system. And most of us in Africa, in Nigeria specifically, we are more familiar with metric system. But if you are familiar with US Imperial system, you can as well follow along. It's still the same method. Okay, so I'm going to click on the drop down and look for metric. You can see the folder RVT 2017, and I'll click on template, and I am going to select US Metric and double click on it. Now you can see at the top now you have US Metric, and meaning that all these files are in metric system, which make things easy for us. So I can select any of these to start with, and let me select this first one, construction default metric. You can start with default, anyone you select here, but they have different files. So let me select this construction default metric and click open, and I will need to tap OK. All right, now here we are, and you can see what we have on this side. Now, in your own Revit, you may not have this project browser on the right. You may have it below this property palette. I decided to dock it on this side so that it's better for me that way. Okay, now the first thing I want to do now is to create my levels. I want to determine my levels, and your levels can be created if you are on any of the elevation, you are on any section. These are the places you can create your level. You cannot create level on floor plan, and you cannot create level on 3D. You can only create level on elevation and section. Okay, so let's go to one of the elevation. If you look, you see elevations, building elevation here. You have east, north, south, and west. Let me select south. Okay, so these are what we have from the default file that we opened. And if you look at it, this level 1 is at 0 level, and whatever you have here are below the 0 level. That means these are underground. This has to do with foundation. Okay, but in my drawing, in my architectural drawing, I don't show foundation. I only start from level 0 or level 1. That is where I normally start from. So I'm going to delete all these one that are below the natural ground level. I don't have anything to do with them. So I am starting from level 1, and my level 1 is assumed to be the natural ground level. The natural ground level. Okay, and that means the height is at 0 level, and you see the height of this one. This is at 4,000 mm. First of all, let's try and save our file. We'll click on the application menu, save as, project, and select our folder. I'll select Revit Tutorial and give it a name, Revit Tutorial Day 1. And on the options here, you select it. You can see the number of backup, 20. It is too many. It is going to overload your system. So I'll have to reduce the backup to 1. And you have to do this. You have to follow this step anytime you are saving a new file. Otherwise, you are going to be having 20 backup, which is too much for your system. It's going to slow down your system. It's going to get your hard disk full on time. So I'm going to click OK and save it. All right, our file has been saved. The next thing I want to do is I want to bring this level 2 down and select it. Edit this dimension to something like 450 and press enter. All right, this is our level 2, and I want to create level 3. I can simply select one of them, and here you see create similar. I'll select create similar, and you see another thing here. If I select this one, it means that I'm going to be drawing. If I select this, it means I'm going to be picking. So I will prefer to pick in this case, pick lines. Okay, so I am going to be picking any of them. I'm going to be picking any of them, and this is the offset. I will set the offset to be 150 mm. That is the thickness of the slab. And as I'm hovering my cursor on any of this level, you can see it. So I drop it. That one has been created. The next thing I will create is the headroom for the ground floor, and I'm going to set the offset to be 3600. My headroom are always 3600. So I'm going to select this, and you can see everything is aligned because I am using picking. And I will use 150 here and pick this, select this and type 3600 and pick this one. Then what we have here is the ceiling level. Then I am going to use the same 3000, or let me select the height of the roof to be 5000 and drop it. Okay, very good. Now we have our levels, and as all these levels are created, the corresponding ground floor or first floor or ceiling level have been created as well. So I am going to be renaming them. This particular one is our ground level, so I'm going to rename it to ground level. Okay, and you need to click on this so that it will rename this one as well. If you don't click on yes, you only have the name here, you will not have it here. And if you want to access those floor plan with ease, you need to have it here so that you will be able to access it with ease. So I'm going to select yes, and the moment I select yes, you can see ground level here, and you can see ground level here. Now I can always rename it. Let me rename it to ground floor level. If I click on empty space, click on yes, whatever modification I do will reflect here. Okay, so this particular one on the top is going to be my first floor level, and I will select it and name it as first floor level. Click on empty space. Would you like to rename corresponding views? Yes. And if you look at here now, you see the level here. Okay, now here will be my ceiling level. Or let me not name it as ceiling level so that it will not confuse me with the regular ceiling level that we have, ceiling plan here. Okay, so just name it as ceiling, and this one will be roof level, and click yes. Okay, then now you can see all these level are jam packing. They are coinciding with each other. We need to stretch it out so that we can know the one we are dealing with. Okay, all this one that's that are jamming with each other, we can always work on it and bring it out so that any one of them we want to work on, we can work on it with ease. Okay, now if this is ground floor level, then this is level 1 and this is level 2. It means that this was originally level 3, but we have renamed it to ground floor level. So I will want to name this one to level 4. I want to name it to level 4. That is the way I normally work, so that later, because it is already registered in my brain that the level on the surface of first floor slab is level 4. And if I'm going to a story be a high rising, if I go to second floor, the level below the surface of the slab will now be level 6. So that is the way I work, and we proceed. Now our level has been created. The next thing we want to do is to set our dimensions. We want to set our dimensions. Wherever you are, you can set your dimension. So I go to, let me place a wall, for instance. Let me just select a wall from the architectural tab and pick a rectangle and draw a wall. Click on this. Okay, now you have our wall. If I want to place a dimension now, I will have to go to this modify tab, select it. We have different type of dimension here, but the one I use most is the align dimension. So I pick that one, and if I want to dimension this wall now, it's snapping to the center of the wall. All I need to do is go to the option bar, change it to wall faces, either wall faces or faces of core. Let's select faces of core. Now I will be able to pick the edge of the wall. Okay, to pick the edge of the wall. All right, you can see why we need to work on these things. You can see the thick is very long. It's not looking nice, and the wall instead of 225 is 200. So these are some of the things we need to set. Now let's pick the dimension first. Let's work on the dimension. I select the dimension and click on edit. I will have to duplicate it so that it doesn't affect the existing one. I will rename it as floor dim and click OK. Then the color, I would like to use brown, dark brown, so that it is going to appear well during printing. And the text size, this is the text size. I would like to use 2 mm, and The next thing is the font, text font. You can select any font of your choice, but let's leave it at Arial and click OK. And click OK. Alright, so if you see the color now, the color has changed to dark brown. Then the next thing is the tick. The tick is too long. To work on that, if you select it and you see tick mark, see it here, tick mark, what we have is diagonal 3 mm, and if you want to change it, you check through all these. These are the only things we have. Diagonal. If I select this one now and click OK, this is what is here. I don't like this, so I select this one again. What I actually want is diagonal, something diagonal, and unfortunately we have only one diagonal here, which is 3 mm. So I need a diagonal that will be something like about 1 mm, 1.5 or 2 mm. I want something that will be short and thick. So what I want to do, what I will do is I will need to create my own tick, my own customized tick. So I will go to Manage tab, then go to Additional Settings and go to Arrowheads and select the diagonal we have before, which is 3 mm, and duplicate it. So here I want to have something like 1.5. Let's remove these two. So we now have 1.5 mm. That's the one we want to create, and the tick size should be 1.5 mm, and click OK. All right, now let's go to our dimension now. If we go to Edit now and we go to tick mark, click on this drop down, you will now see diagonal 1.5 mm that we have just created, and select that, then click OK. Okay, you can see now that this is short and more professional. This is looking nice now. Okay, then we are done with setting our dimension. We have set the color, we have set the size of the tick. The next thing is to set our wall. So I'm going to select this, all the wall here. I'll select all the wall, and I can filter it. I can filter dimensions out and go to Edit Type. I will need to duplicate it. Let me rename it. The reason we are duplicating it is that so that the original copy will always be there in case you have any need of it. Okay, 225 wall and click OK. Then I've already duplicated it. The next thing is to edit the sizes and the materials. So I can, under the value here, I click on edit. The first thing I will edit here is the thickness. So here, this is what the place that controls the width. So I'm going to select 225. That is the thickness. Then this is the material. The material of the structural material. Sometimes you may have the structural material and the finishes, but at this level we are not going to bother ourselves about the finishes for now. We can do that one later on. Let's focus on the structural material for now. So here you see by category. So you check here now, you will not see anything, but there's something that is there. Except somebody teach you, will not know that something is existing here. If I click on this point now before the button comes out, okay, now here I can change the material. To what I want. I can change it to anything I want. Let me look for something that is close to what I want to do. Something that is close to what I want to do. And if I cannot see, I will just select the fourth wall. Let me select the fourth wall and right click, duplicate it. The reason we are duplicating it is so that we can always have the original one. The original one will be there. If I rename it now, the original one is gone. I don't want to tamper with it, so I will give it a name, 225 wall. And here we have three things here: identity, graphics, and appearance. Identity is the name, is the what identify that wall or that material. But graphics is the way to show on your computer. This color you are seeing now is the color that will show on your computer. And rendering is the color that will show when you render it. So I'm going to change the color of the graphics, that is the way it's going to show on my system, to something like off-white, and click OK. Then I don't want to focus on the render appearance for now. We'll do that one later on, and click OK. Click OK again, and click OK. Click OK. All right, now if you look at now, you see now that the thickness is now 225, which is exactly what we want. And if you select the wall, you see this is the wall we have just created. Okay, so everything is set. And if you look at it in 3D, you see what we are talking about. If you go to elevation and you see our levels and our wall, and we can actually bring this wall down. We can set it the way we want it. If I want to bring it down now, I'll select the wall and set the base constraint to level 1, which is the natural ground level. Then the top constraint, I will set it to level 4 and click apply. Bam, you can see now it has gone to where we expect it to be. In this video, I'll be showing you how we can start planning our building. So we are going to model something like this. And without wasting your time, let's get started. I'm going to close any hidden window. I've already opened the file we want to use today at the background, and this is it here. I'm going to open it, and this is where we stopped in the last video. Okay, to start our planning proper, I am going to go to the ground floor level, and this is it here. We have already set our wall. Okay, so we get into planning the building right away. And the last video I sent to you was about how to create your shortcut, and I believe you must have watched that video, because we are going to be using a lot of shortcuts here, hotkeys. So if you have not yet watched that video, make sure you go back to your email and check that mail I sent to you, so that you can watch that video and understand the interface, the Revit interface, and the shortcuts. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get started. And I am going to hold on my control and drag to copy this wall, and that is that. Then I'm going to hold control and drag this to copy it, and I am going to assign dimension here. If I like, I can continue this dimension, selecting it and clicking on edit witness line, so I can place another dimension here, and I am going to establish this length. This length is 11,518. We have gotten that. The next thing is to establish the width. The width is 6,185. So I'm going to place another dimension here, and there are so many ways I can go about that. I can use shortcut DS. Once I press DS, you see that dimension is active already, and that is the shortcut I've created for myself, DS as dimension. So I'm going to place a dimension here, and I need to select the dimension we have created earlier in our previous video. The dimension we created was floor dim. This is it here. So I'm going to place that particular dimension, and the dimension we want here is 6,185. 6185, and I press enter, and that is established. That is the main lounge. Okay, then I will need to establish this toilet. There is a particular toilet that is here. I'm going to hold control and copy this, then continue this dimension by clicking on edit witness line, then select this particular wall and establish the width of the toilet. The width of the toilet is 2,400 mm, and I'll press enter. And the width of a room we have here, we have a room here. The width is The width of this room is 6,525. 6,525, and I'll press enter. Okay, we are moving. All right, the next thing I want to do is I will want to cut this. I want to define this toilet, so I'm going to select one of this wall and hit create similar, so that I create the similar wall. And I can also copy this one anyway, so I simply copy this, and here we go. To go out of that command, I will need to click on this modify, and alternatively I can also use the QW. You can see if I hover, you see QW there. That is my shortcut for going out of any command. So I'll use QW. I am out of the wall. Okay, so I'll need to trim this wall, and I will use shortcut TR as trim. Then I need to establish the length of the toilet. The length of the toilet is let's define is about 2,000, or let's use 3,000. Let's use 3,000 mm. I'll press enter, and we have a wardrobe here. Our wardrobe here, the wardrobe is about 600 mm, and I select it, make it 600 mm, and I can place a line here. To create a line, I use shortcut as DL. DL is my shortcut for detail line. And that detail line can be gotten out of annotate. You see annotate here, you see detail line here, and what this line does is that it only show on this particular floor. Okay, so I've already selected that line. Let me go back, DL as line, and the line I want to use is a line which I've already created. Okay, I've not created that line before. Okay, there's a particular line I normally use, and let us go and create that line. So all we need to do is to go to manage, and we'll go to additional settings, and we'll go to line and styles, and you'll see new here. We click on new, and we give it a name as furniture, and click OK, and this is it here. The line width, we'll use 2. We use 2 as the line width. Then the color, I would like to use brown. I like to use brown, and click OK, and it is solid. That is all we need for now, and click apply. Click OK again. All right, so I want to draw that line now. I simply hit on my shortcut DL, and now I will be able to select that line here now. Okay, you can see that furniture is now here. So simply draw, and I want to fill this place by using array, and my shortcut for array, this is array by the way. You can see as I hover my cursor over it now, you can see AR. That is my shortcut. So I want to use that array, and I want to unselect group and associate. And the number I want to use is 10. And I will take it to the last. Then just select the first one and take it to the last. Here you go. So we have our wardrobe there. Okay, we are moving. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to establish our anti room. We want to establish our anti, and I'm going to place a dimension. The width of the anti is 2100, and we are going to go inside by 600 mm. It's 600 mm, and I want to trim all these 600 mm. The in to in is 600 mm, so I'm going to select this wall and click on the dimension, then change it to 600 mm, and here we go. Okay, that is where we have our entrance steps, and just beside the ante room we have the toilet. We have the WC for visitor, and the depth of the ante room is 2200 mm. So I'm going to select this and type 2200 mm and press enter. Then I want to use trim to trim all this wall, and my shortcut for trim is the one I want to use here is extend, and my shortcut is EX. By the way, this is the extend we are talking about. This is the extend we want to use in this case. So I'm going to click on this line and click the back of it. Okay, you can see how it works. All right, that is done. Then I want to trim this as well. Hit EX, then click the back of it, and that wall is trimmed. And I also want to trim this. Click on empty space and click here, then click the back of it, and I want to cut off all these. I'll use the same extend, click where I want it to go, and click the back of it, click the back of this one, and we have our WC here. And we need to establish the width of the WC. The width here will be 900 mm, and I'll press enter. Then we have a room here. We have a guest room here, so I need to establish the width. The width of that room is 5091. So first I need to establish the dimension and place the dimension here. select this wall that I want to move, then change the dimension to 5091 and press enter. Then we want to establish the length of this room. We will hold on Control to copy this wall and select dimension, or we can continue this dimension and click Edit Witness and continue the dimension like that. Okay, now let's establish the width of that room. The width of that room is 3900. So I select this particular one I want to move, this particular wall I want to move, then change this dimension to 3900 and press enter. That is that. And we have a staircase somewhere here, and the width of that staircase is 2400. And I select this particular wall I want to move and type 2400 here, and that is that staircase for you. And we need to remove this, we need to trim this one off. I'm going to use extend EX. You can see it's already active, and that is that. Then at the back here we have kitchen here, we have maid room here. So I need to copy, hold on my Control to copy this wall, to place a wall there. And the width of that maid room is 5200 mm. And select this wall I want to move, type 5200 here and press enter. Okay, then the maid has his toilet here, and the width of the toilet is 1200 mm. And select it, type 1200 mm and close it up. Then use TR to trim out this one. TR, that is this particular trim, and we are moving. So we have established the maid room. This is the kitchen here. The next thing we want to create is, we have a veranda somewhere here, and we have stores somewhere here. So I'm simply going to copy this wall, holding on Control and drag. Then I'm going to place my dimension into in here. We have 1200 mm. Select this wall I want to move, type 1200 mm and press enter. That is that. And I am going to copy one of this wall to here, so that I can establish the store. If the width of the store is 1800, it's not bad, 1800, then I can copy this wall to somewhere there and use extend to bring this one there, and click empty space, click here, click here. Okay, Then I need to get rid of this wall by clicking on this point, then click on this way. Then I need to get rid of this, click empty space, click here and click the back of it. Alright, then here we have a recess here, and that will make me to trim this one off. And the tool that I can use to cut this particular one off, I want to cut here. The tool I will use is split. You can see split here. That is the tool I can use in this case. So I'm going to cut here and cut here. Now it's already cut. I need to exit from this command. So I'm going to click on this to exit and select it, delete it, then use trim to clean it up. Oh yes, that is that. Then this is going to be our veranda. I need to trim this one by using trim. Okay, that is that. So there is a small recess somewhere here. So, and because of that recess, I am going to cut this wall and move everything from here to here so that we'll be able to have that recess. I use SL, that is the shortcut for split, and I'm going to use delete inner segment, then remove this. The reason is so that I'll be able to move all this wall, because if I don't cut it, I will not be able to, this one will move along with it, and I don't want this one to move along with it. So I highlight everything from here and move it by 1200 mm and press enter. Then I can copy this wall and extend it, then close this one up, TR and TR. Okay, then what is the distance between here and here is 2100 mm. Select it, make this one 2100 mm and press enter. Okay, now we have our recess. Then I need to split here. I use SL, split here, then use extend to clean that place up. That is that. And we're almost done. We need a toilet for this room, and I'm going to grab my wall and select create similar. Then I can use trim to clean this one up. Now I have the toilet for that room. I need to move this place backward a little bit because this room is not proper like this. So I'm going to move all this place by 1200 mm and press enter. So that this is what we have in this room. Okay, this room is okay, let's leave it at that. This is our kitchen, this is our store, and this is our main lounge. This is where our dining will be. This is staircase. We have everything now. We have everything. The next thing we will need to do is to place our windows and doors. Okay, before I place windows and doors, I want to open this staircase area, and I'll use SL. That is split. SL is split here. That's my own shortcut. You can create your own. Use EX to clean this place up. Okay, now that is that. Our plan is for the ground floor plan is almost complete. The next thing we want to do is to place our doors, and the shortcut I normally use for door is DR. The moment I select DR, see door will be out. And another way you can do it is go to architecture, you see door, but that will be a long way. I prefer to use shortcut. And this door we have here, the one I want to use is 900 mm by 2100 mm. So I want to edit it, edit type, and because I don't want to, I don't have anything to do with this original one, I will simply rename it and type 900 mm, 900 by 2100 or 2100 mm, and click OK. So I've renamed it now. I've renamed the original one because as far as this folder is concerned, I don't have anything to do with that, so I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to change the parameter now to 2100, that's 2100, and the width will be 900 mm, and click on apply, click OK, and I am going to use that door at so many places. All these places we have those door, I'm going to place them to the kitchen, from dining to the kitchen. We can also get to this room here. We can get to this toilet somewhere here, and we can go out of the kitchen. Now you see, if I want to toggle this, what I use is space bar. If I click on space bar, you can see the door is turning. If I click again, I click space bar again, you can see how it is turning, and I'm sure you get that. So I want to establish this the door to this store. Can I place it here? Let me try it. Okay, and I think it's not enough. Let me use dimension to shift it a little bit. Okay, so I want to shift this wall something like 1000 or 900. Let's use 1000 so that we can have architrave, and use arrow key to move this one up a little bit. Now this is our store. The kitchen is looking small. Let me undo that, so that I'm going to remove this wall, this door from there. You can use pick a new host, so that I place it here, so that the kitchen, we can have our wash hand basin somewhere here. Okay, that is better. All right, we have, this is our veranda, this is our store, and this is our maid room. The maid will access her room from outside here, and this is the door to her toilet. And we have almost all the doors. The only one that is remaining now is the main door, and the door I want to use is not in this folder, because if I select door now, let's save our work, that particular one is not in this folder. So what I would do is to go and load it from another project. I want to load that external door, that double door, from another project. So what I'll do is, that project is already open at the background. You can see it here, switch windows. Sometime it may not be here, depends on the version of Revit you are using. Some are at the top here. If your own is at the top, it's okay. Okay, this is the file we want to use. And okay, this is the store we were talking about. Okay, the door was actually here. Okay. So we are going to update that so that we can have a longer worktop somewhere here. The door can even be here, it's better. Okay, now let's copy the door we want to use. This is the door we want to use. This is it here. You can see it. It's one of the door that I created some time ago in the past. So I want to use that. I will select it. There are two ways you can go about it. You can select it, edit family, and load it into the project. Select the project we were working on before and click OK. That way it will be loaded into this project. You can see it here. Then another alternative we can use is to go to that file. I go to this file. I want to copy this door to the next project, but door does not go alone. Door go with its host. So any family that I want to copy to another file, there are some families that do not stay alone, that must go with its host. And things like door must go with a host. What is a host to the wall, to the door? What is a host to the door? The host to the door is wall. So if I want to copy this wall to another project now, what I will do is to select this wall and copy it. Copy to clipboard. Then go to my project I was working on and paste the wall somewhere there. Bam, you can see the door has come along with it. So these are two ways you can move family that has to do with a host from one project to another project. Okay, now let's select this door and select create similar and place that door here. Okay, so we have our doors now. We have our doors, and the next thing we will be doing is to place our windows, and annotation to write the names of the spaces. Okay, that is the much we can do in this video, and I hope you learn something from this video. If you do, don't forget to give me a feedback so that I will be encouraged and know that some people are benefiting from this training. Okay, thank you for watching this video and see you in the next video. Bye. I welcome you to this video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to place windows in Revit. But before we place windows, I would like to show you how to model window first. And this is what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we learned how to design and plan the spaces inside our building. And of course, you know that it is a space inside your building that determines what you see outside. Okay, before we place our windows, let's open our case study. This is the building we are using for this tutorial. So I want us to model this type of window. So that you too can learn and be in charge. You'll be able to model any kind of window of your choice. Okay, without wasting your time, let's get started with modeling of window family. The first thing you are going to do is to click on this application menu, and you see new. You will see a small arrow here. Click on that small arrow, then you move towards family, click on it, and you should be able to see all these files. If you do not see any of this file, it means your Revit did not load well during installation. And what I will recommend for you is to contact me so that I will send you this folder so that you will be able to load it into your system and have it handy. Okay, with that out of the way, let's see how we can create a new window family. And if you go through all this, you see window here. This is where we are going to start from. You select it and click open. And here it is. If I click on 3D, this is what we have. The first thing I want to do is to save it. Click on File, click on Application menu, Save As, select Family, and select our folder. This is our folder, and this is the one I used some time ago. Let's give it the same name. So I want to replace it. Select option, that is the backup. Reduce the backup to 1 and click OK. Then give it the name you want to save it with. This name is okay. Then let's save it. I want to replace the existing one. Okay, so this is what we have. Now at this point, you can start customizing your window. If for instance you want to have an arc, zoom to fit. Okay, I cannot see it. Okay, now assuming you want to have an arc, in that case you are going to, this is an opening, you are going to make this opening to be an arc here. But for this window, we are not creating an arc. We want to make a simple rectangular window. And if you see the height, it's given in inches. I don't want it to be in inches. I want it to be in millimeter. So what I would do is to change the unit. And I'm going to go to Manage tab. You see Manage here. Click on it. Then look for Project Unit. This Project Unit. Click on it. Then look for length. Change the length to millimeter. You can see millimeter here. Okay. And click the decimal places. I love it 0 place. Okay. Then okay, everything okay. All right, we have changed it to millimeter now. I've changed it to millimeter. And the first thing I can create, I would love to create my glass. You can start from anywhere. You can create your glass first. You can create your mullion, whatever you want to create first. Okay, so let me create my glass. And in creating the glass, I'm going to click on Create. Then select Extrusion. And pick rectangle and simply draw and select Align. Click on this reference plane and align it, lock it. Click on the next reference plane, align it, lock it, and click on this one, align it, lock it. Click on this, align and lock. Now change the material to something that look like glass. This is glass, okay, and click OK. Then the depth, the extrusion end is the thickness of the glass. 25 mm will be okay, and click Apply. And let's finish it and see. Let's see it in 3D. That is that. Let's change it to shaded. Oh, let's change it to shaded. You can see this is our glass. Okay, this is our glass. Beautiful. Okay. All right, let's load it into a project and see whether it is going to work for us. Let's select this project and let's override the existing one. And that window is not active. Okay, let me select window. My shortcut for window is WN. And let's save this project and place the window. Okay, that is that. It is working. And let's select it and let's increase the size and see whether it's going to adapt to the new size without breaking, because we locked it before. The reason we lock it is so that we'll be able to modify the sizes. Okay, you can see it is working perfectly. Everything is working perfectly. Okay, so we go back to our model. We'll go back to our Revit family, and I want to close any hidden window. This is where I close hidden window. Okay, if you don't see this, there are other ways you can close a hidden window. You can use shortcut. As I'm hovering it now, you see shortcut as CL. Okay, or other ways you can do is to go to view, then go to user interface, click on this drop down, then sorry. Other ways you can do is go to view and you see close hidden close hidden. If there is any window that is hidden, you'll be able to close it here. Okay, let's go to our window family. This is the window family we are working on, and I would like to go to the section so that I move the glass from the center of the wall. Okay, we don't have section here, so let me create a section view. And let's go to the view. Okay, and I cannot identify where the exterior is. Let me go to elevation so that I'll be able to identify the exterior. Okay, this is the exterior. Then I am going to select this glass I've just created. It's okay, I've selected it now, so I'm going to drag it out. I want it to be on the surface of the wall. I want it to look like curtain wall. This is the way curtain wall is done. It's always on the surface. The glass is on the surface. Okay, the glass is not at the center of the wall for curtain wall type. Okay, so I want to see the 3D, and that is what we have. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to create the mullion. To create the mullion, I go to exterior. And I select create, select extrusion. But before then, I need a reference plane so that I'll be able to lock it to those reference plane. And if I am increasing the size and getting different variations, I will not have issues. Okay, to create a reference plane, you can select any of these and create similar, and simply draw and draw and draw. Okay, then we need dimension for this. The kind of mullion I want to create, I want it to be inward. I want it to be inside. I want it to be inside the opening. Okay, then I want to copy this, then place my dimension. The size of the mullion I want to create will be something like 20 mm, and place your dimension 20 mm. It's okay, and select your dimension, lock it, select your dimension, lock it, so that anytime you are increasing the window or decreases, depending on the type of variation you want to create, your model will not scatter, it will remain intact. Okay, so I make sure I lock it all around 20 mm, and lock this as well. All right. Okay, now let's start creating our mullion. Now I will select create, select extrusion, and pick, let's draw a rectangle. We'll draw through rectangle, and select Align. Pick the reference plane and lock it. Lock it only to reference plane. Don't lock it to model element. Otherwise, you have issue when you start working. You'll be getting errors. So to avoid those errors, make sure you lock it only to reference plane. If you are locking it to reference plane, you are not going to get any much error. And well, we are good to go. And for the material, I am going to save it as a different, I will rename it and duplicate and rename it as window frame and click OK. And the extrusion end and 20. This time around I want it to be something like 150 and click apply. Finish it and let's see it in 3D. Okay, this is it here. Let's work on it a little bit. Let's work on the material so that it will be distinguished from the wall. Let's make it off-white and click OK. We cannot see the mullion proper, and we need to define. Okay, let's see how it goes. Let's go to our section and position it so it will cover to this face. We cannot lock it against the wall. We only need to lock it to reference plane. So we might need the reference plane to be able to lock it there. Let's try and create a reference plane. RP, that is the shortcut for reference plane. And I can also create similar. My shortcut for create similar is CS. And I can drag this one here and lock it. Then this one to here will be something like, let's type 200 and see. 200 is too much. Let's type 120. Let's type 120. Okay, that's 120. And let's lock this and let's constrain this one to this reference plane, and that is that. So we have our mullion there. Okay, then the next thing we want to create, let's see our case study. Let's see our case study. The next thing I want to create is this window hood. I want to create this window hood. To create those window hood, we go back to our family where we were before and select it, and we may need some reference plane to work with. So I'm going to create another set of reference plane, and up and down, and here we are going to determine the width of our window hood The width of our window hood 120 is not bad, and we are going to lock it. Then also determine the width of this to be 120 and constrain it. Okay, then place another reference plane, RP for reference plane, so that it will be an extension. Okay, I place dimension. By the way, my shortcut for dimension is DS. You still remember, okay? 120 is the projection, and I'm going to lock that. Then select dimension again and place it here. Select this reference plane, change the dimension to 120 and press enter. Then constrain this dimension. Okay, now let's create our mullion now. To create a mullion, let's create our window hood now. To create window hood, you simply go to create, select extrusion, and select a rectangle, and draw within this rectangle, and pick a line, align to this reference plane, and lock and constrain it. Align it to this reference plane and constrain it. Then align it to this reference plane and constrain it. And finally align it to this reference plane and also constrain it. Change the material to something else. Change it to window hood. And make the color more visible by changing it to white or off-white, so that it will stand out of the wall. And the extrusion end is 100 will be okay. 100 will be okay. And let's finish it. Let's see it in 3D. Okay, that is that. You can see it in 3D. Okay, we need it to extend beyond the frame. We need it to go beyond the frame, and something like this. And in that case, we can place a dimension or a reference plane. Let's use a reference plane. Let's use another reference plane, and let's place a dimension here. And if this is about 1 inch, that is 25 mm. 25. And press enter. Then constrain it and stretch this one to here and constrain it. Then you can also stretch this to here and constrain it, so that it will be intact at any point in time. And we can mirror this so that we have this same one at the lower part of our window, and make sure it's also locked to this reference plane. Select this one and lock it to this reference plane. Then select this, lock it to this reference plane, and select this and lock it to that reference plane. And let's view it in 3D. Okay, beautiful. So we have it up and down now. Before we proceed, let's try and load it into our project to test whether it's working. so that we'll not waste our time creating something that is going to break at the end of the day. Okay, you can see, let's toggle it. Okay, beautiful. It is working. It is working perfectly. Okay, it is working. It's working. All right, let's see whether we can change the size. Let's change the size to the height 1800, then the width to something like 600 mm. Whether it is going to break. If it break, then we find our way, we start afresh. If it does not break, we continue. Okay, I think it's perfect. Very, very perfect. Okay, then the next thing we want to create is those small antique design, those small antique design that are under it. So we go to our window family again and select it and go to exterior. Okay, now we want those antique design to be somewhere here and somewhere here. So I am going to pick a reference plane and place it somewhere here and give it a dimension. If the length of the antique design is 200, it's not bad. Let's lock it, and we need another reference plane that would determine the width of the antique design, and we are going to place a dimension to the reference plane. And if the width of the antique design is 100, it's not bad, and place a dimension here. Place a dimension. I'm sure you know where I'm picking my dimension from. I am using a shortcut. That's why I told you that shortcut is very, very important. Okay, so I'm going to lock these and start our design proper. Let's go to section and see. Let's go to this section, and this is the exterior of our window, and this is where we want to have the antique design, somewhere here. Okay, if you look at those antique design, the approach to it is to use extrusion, and the extrusion will be from this section. So I pick extrusion, create, select extrusion, and it's asking me to pick a plane, and obviously there's no plane to be picked here. I don't have any plane to pick. Okay, I can pick this. I can pick this plane. Can you see as it is being highlighted? Can you see it? I'm sure you have seen it. Okay, I picked that plane, and let's start designing our antique design. And the first thing we'll do is just draw a rectangle, just a normal rectangle, and lock it to all this reference plane. Lock it to all this reference plane and change the material to be to have the same material as window hold is okay. And let's finish it. Now let's go to our exterior and make sure you lock it to this reference plane and also lock this one to this reference plane, and let's view it in 3D. Okay, you can see it now, just simple rectangular. Okay, now let's see whether we can modify it a little bit so that we can make it curve, and that will take us to edit that. It will take us to any of this view, like section 1 or right elevation. Any of this view will be okay. Okay, now this is where we want to apply curves. This is where we want to apply curve to it, and can make something like this. Can create some, let me use a rectangle. Let me use a line, a simple line, and we are going, and whatever design you want to create is up to you. Any design you want is up to you. Let's try this, whether it is going to work. If it does not work, then we go back and let's remove this, and let's finish it and see. And let's see it on elevation. I think the design is okay, and let's see how it is going to look in our project. Let's load it into our project and see how it is going to look like. Okay, you can see it is buried inside the wall. It is buried inside the wall, and I don't like it like that. And in that case, I want to modify it. So to do that, I want to go to my section. Let's go to my section and try and bring it out. I want to try and bring it out a little bit so that to come out of the wall, and we can use our arrow to move it out. Okay, this position I think is not bad, and let's load it into the projects again and see how it is going to look like in our live project. Okay, let's see it on from the side and see how it look like. It's still buried. It's still buried. It's not looking the way I want it to look. So I'll still go to the left elevation, and let's try and move this out a little bit. Let's change this one to something like, let's change it to something like 50. Let's make it 50. No, undo. Let me delete this. Okay, this is the one that is controlling our, this is the reference plane that is controlling our window hood. So I want to make this to be 50 and see how it is going to be. Okay, then lock it. Okay, then I can now edit this and move it out a little bit. Move it out, and if I like, I can lock I can constrain this point to this reference plane so that that point will always stay on that reference plane. And let's finish it. Let's load it into the live project again and see how it is going to look like. Override existing one. Okay, you can see it has come out now. Yes, this is beautiful. This is better. Okay, but this edge is looking too sharp. It's looking too sharp. So I need to blunt it and go to one of the view, edit, select arc and blunt this edge and use a trim to trim it. Here we go, and finish it. And let's see how it is. It should be better now. Override existing one. Oh yes, this is better. Okay, now let's go back and create the second one. Let's create the second one. This is it here. All we need to do is to mirror it. Mirror it, picking the center, mirror it. Then after mirror it, we are going to constrain it to all this reference plane, because once you mirror it, the copy you have has lost its constraint. So we are going to select it, edit it, go to left and constrain all these to here and this to here and this to this reference plane and this particular point to this reference plane, and let's finish it and let's see it on 3D. Let's save our work. Yes, correct. Everything is working perfectly. And let's see how we can load it into our project. And here we go. We'll override existing one. Now we have the second one. Okay, now that we have the second one, let's assume we change the size of this window. Is our model going to scatter? Let's see. 1200 mm. Click apply, click OK. You can see everything is working fine. If I want to reduce it to something like a toilet window now, I reduce the height to something like 600 mm by 600 mm. What are we going to have? Is it going to break? Correct. Everything is working perfectly. Okay, so that is how you can create your window family from scratch. And I hope you learned something from this video. And if you do, make sure you give me feedback, and preferably I want the feedback to be in a video format. I will highly appreciate that. So this window, you can change it to any size. It can be a horizontal window, it can be a vertical window, any size you want. In the next video, we'll see how we can place. Okay, let's try and place this window on our project, and the height can remain as 1800 and the width will be something like 900, and let's click apply. Let's make the name, let's rename it to 900 by 1800 window. Click OK, and that is the size. Click OK. In the next video, we are going to place all our windows in this project. Alright, see you in the next video. Bye. I welcome you to this video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to create windows in Revit, how to add windows to your plan in Revit. This is the project we are using as our case study. So we are going to be adding windows that are similar to this in this video right away. And right now I have already opened the project at the background. Let me open it. This is the project Revit Tutorial, and this is it here. In the last training, we looked at how to create windows with antic feature, and it is the same window we are going to be adding right now. So there are two ways you can go about it. Either you use shortcut. The shortcut is WN. If I type WN on my keyboard, my window will be activated. Or alternatively, I can go to Architecture tab. You will see window at the top here. Click on it. Then your windows will be selected. You can now select the type you want by clicking inside this space and look for the one you want to use. I believe you must have known the name, and if you can't remember the name, the thumbnail will show here. By seeing the thumbnail, I now know the kind of window I want to add. Okay, so I am going to be adding this one, 1800 by 1 meter, and select that particular one. And here I can determine the head. I want the head to be something like 2400 and click apply, and I will add 2 here. I will add 2 here, then add 2 here, add 2 here, and add 2 here, add 2 here. No, this is room. I'm going to add 1 here, add 1 here. This is made room. I'm going to add 1 here and 1 there. And I'm coming back to this toilet later because that of the toilet will be smaller. And as you can see from our project, we have an angle window here. So I'm going to be placing angle window there. And this is where we have our staircase. It is supposed to be 2 windows. Let's check our case study and know the type of window we have there. This is our case study where we have the staircase. Okay, we have only 1 there. Okay, we have only 1 there. Okay, and the toilets are actually small. The toilets are small windows, and in our living room we have single windows, but they are a little bit wider. So I'm going to go back to our project we are currently working on, and this is it here. So I only need one window here, and this window I need is just slim. It should be 1800 by 600 mm, and click apply. Then I can select it, create similar. Now I want to create toilet for the window for the toilet. So I simply hover my cursor here and drop it, and I can now select it, take it to the type I want. I want it to be toilet window, so I'm going to select the toilet window I've created some time ago. This is not it. This one does not work. Okay, maybe I have tampered with the dimension before, so let me modify it. Change the dimension to 600 mm by 600 mm and click apply, click OK, and that is that. And from here you can determine the height. The height should be 2400 mm and press enter. Correct. Then we can select it now and create similar. So we place it everywhere we see toilet. This one is a store, and this is our toilet. This is our toilet, so we place a smaller one there, and this is the visitors WC. We place it there, and we are moving. Okay, this is our veranda. We need to cut it open. To open this veranda, the way I normally open is I select it, edit profile, go to the appropriate elevation. In this case, south will give me what I want, and I'm going to pick a line and draw, and I'm going to trim and use trim to do that, and delete this one. Let's know the height of this particular one. The height from the ground floor is, it should be 2700 mm, and press enter. Okay, at this point we can finish it. Then let's go to 3D, and I select this particular one, edit profile. I can go to the west. I'll go to the west elevation. I can also go to east. When you are in the east, let's see which one will work. I don't know which one is east for now. Let me go to my floor plan. Okay, this is the wall I want to edit, and okay, I can actually edit it on this section. If I go to that section, it's better for me. So I click on edit, and I draw a line and select split and cut that particular one, then trim all these, and delete this particular one and use a line to make their height equal. Align AL. Okay, it's not snapping to this. I don't know why. If it's not snapping, no problem. I use dimension to place it. I still remember the dimension. The dimension is 2700 and finish it. And let's see it in 3D. So that is that. Okay, something is not right. I will edit it. Go to section 1 and let them blend together and finish it. And let's look at it in 3D. Is better now. Okay, at this point we need a window here, we need a window there, and the kind of window we need is something like this. And I can create window on 3D. Then I select it. I can set the height to be 2400 mm and press enter. Okay, so this window is not to the height I want. I can highlight it, then right click, select all instances in the entire project and take all of them to the height of 2400 mm. Press apply and there you go. I can also select all this type, select all instances in the entire project. Their height is already on 2400, which is okay. Okay, now what we need now is our corner window. We need our corner window. We need a corner window somewhere here. So, and I don't have corner window in this project. Corner window has not been loaded into this project. So what I will do is to go to an existing project that I think I have a corner window in, and let me close hidden windows and let me select this particular project, and this is the corner window in this project. I can select it, edit family, then no need to work on it, load it into project and make sure that project is selected and click OK and go to your floor plan, type WN shortcut for window and see how you can position it properly. Okay, this is the way I want to position it. I select it, I'll press my spacebar to toggle the position and I can move this one back, then pick my align tool by using shortcut AL. Then I want to align it to wall faces. So I select the face of the wall, then align here to that point and select it, take the height to 2400 mm and hit apply. Then let's see it in 3D. There we have our window. Though the window is supposed to have this antique feature. I have the one that have antique feature, but I may have to look for it, but just for the purpose of showing you how it works, you have already seen it. So we were able to add windows to this project in this training. In the next training, we will see how we can add our text, our label, and also create our first floor. I welcome you to this video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to add graphics to your design, your floor plan. And at the end of this video, you will learn how to create something like this. You learn how to color your text. You can color your wall. You can add fill to your wall. Then you will add a furniture and plumbing system to your plan. And this is at the end of this video, you should be able to achieve all this. And without wasting your time, let's get started. And this is what we did last video. In the last video, we learned how to add windows to our plan, but today we want to add some graphics to our design. Now if you look at this wall now, this wall is not thick enough. This line is not thick enough, and I always prefer to have a fill inside my wall. It brings out a form of graphics in it. And I'm also going to create this staircase in this video. But first, I want to make this wall thick, this line thick. I want to make this particular line to be a little bit thicker, and if possible we can make it colored instead of black. The first thing you will do is go to Manage tab, you click, then you will see this object style. Click on it and go straight to the bottom. I think it's arranged in alphabetical order, so we are looking for wall, and here is our wall. So you select wall, and you can see when you are on wall, you see that this projection is as it is seen on the elevation when the wall is not cut. And what you see here is when the wall is cut. You can see the line width we have at the moment is 3, which is very thin. That's why it's not thick enough. So I will want to change this one to something like 0.7. And if I hit apply, you see that the wall now is thicker now. This is better now. This is better than before. And if I want to change the color, I select this color and I want to change it to dark blue and move it towards the blue, let it be a little bit darker, and click OK. If I hit apply now, you see that the color have changed. Okay, then this projection is as it is seen on elevation, and I take it to 2 so that when you have printed the drawing, it's going to come out well, and you are going to photocopy it. The printing will be sharp, because if you leave it at 1, some printer will make it will be faint. So to avoid that, leave it at 0.2 and click OK. Click OK again, and that is that. You can see now that the wall is coming out better. And what we need now is a fill. We need to have a fill in it. I don't want it to just be plain. I want it to have a fill. So I select it and I go to edit type. This is where you are going to see the fill. You see coarse scale fill pattern. You can see there is nothing here. So I'm going to click on inside this space and it's going to take me to where I can add fill to it. I like to use this brickwork and click OK. Then you can change the color. I can use the color of let's say red or brown will be okay, and click OK, click apply, click OK. Now you can see that the wall has some fill. Now it's looking better. Okay, it's looking better. And let me create this staircase now. To create this staircase, I'm going to use detail line, and my shortcut for detail line is DL. And you see the line type I'm using a furniture. This is a line we have created some time ago. If you have not yet watched that video on how to create your line type, make sure you watch that video. Okay, so I am going to draw a line. This is 2.4 meter and I only need a single line. And if I like, I can use I can type the offset here. The offset to be 1200, so that it will be 200 away from this wall. Okay, then I'm going to use array. At this point I'm going to use array. I'm going to go to modify tab, then select this and go to array, or use the shortcut. I go to array, then type the number I want to copy. For instance, I want to select like 15, or let me select 14, and I want to uncheck this group and associate. I am taking it to the second and to the first one. I'm going to type 300 and press enter, and you can see it has overshoot, so I'm going to remove this one. And if I count it now, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19. I have 19 here and I want it to be 23, and that means I need 4 more. Okay, so I'm going to select this and create similar, and I start from the center here. I do this. One has been added. I need 3 more, and I need 2 more, and I'm going to do this one. Okay, and I am going to add this and this one like that. And let me see the number, the total number I have now. I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24. Okay, this is 24 and I need it to be 23, so I'm going to remove 1 from it I'm going to remove one from it like that. Okay, let me hide this. For hide, and I will need to break this so that I'll be able to change some part to hash line. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to split it. I'm going to split all these. Okay. All right. Then this is where we are starting our movement from. I select the same thing, create similar. I'm going to draw from here. We are moving like this and create an arrow there. Then I select cycle. This is where we are starting our movement from, and I'm going to select all this one and make it overhead so that it will be a broken line to indicate that is overhead. And that is our staircase. Okay, I am going to model it later, but this is what I do first before I model it. When I want to model it, it's a question of tracing this. It makes it faster for me. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to label the spaces we have in this building, and we need text. To type the spaces you have, you simply select TX. TX is the shortcut for text. Then you click here, main lounge. Okay, so that is that. And if you are not pleased with this font, you can change it. To change it, you select it. You can see we don't have any new text here now, so I'm going to click on edit. I'm going to duplicate it and I will label it as room label and click OK. The color I will want to use, let me use something like magenta or light blue. Let me use something like light blue and click OK. Okay, the background is opaque, and the font I would like to use is Stylus BT ST. Stylus BT. Stylus BT. This is it here, and the size I can use like 3.5 and click OK. Oh yes, that is that. And I always like to use a capital letter. I like to use capital letter. Main lounge. It's a little bit faint. The color is faint. Let me change the color to something that is more pronounced. But if I like, I can use let me use red. Let me use red. I'll use red and click OK. Any color you use is okay. Okay. Or if you want it to be, I can also use green. Let me try green, dark green, and click OK. Then I can bold it. I can bold it and click OK. There are so many things you can do with it. Okay, that is that. So I want to write every spaces we have. TX. I have my dining here. I have my dining. I have guest room here, and I have visitors WC. I have my auntie here, and oh, sorry, it's supposed to be this. This is the one I'm using. I have my guest room here. This bedroom. Let's type bedroom here. Okay, I have maid's room. Maid's room. I have toilet there, and this is kitchen, and this is toilet, and this is store, and this is veranda, and I need to open this veranda. I actually opened it some time ago, but I didn't save the work, so I lost it. Now let me open it now. In opening it, I go to approach view and click open, and I'm going to select this and split this, then use trim to close this up, and delete this one. Then check the height to be something like 2700, and finish it. Then go to 3D and see, select this particular one, edit it, go to that section where we can see it properly. Okay, this is a section, and I pick a rectangle and click split it and trim that, and delete this. Then use a line to align it with this wall, and finish it. Then look at it from 3D. That is that. Okay, that is that. Then select all this window in the entire project, and the headroom should be 2400. and hit apply, and select all instances in the entire project. The headroom should be 2400 and apply, and their height should be 1800. Their width should be 1 meter and hit apply. Okay, their headroom should be 2400 mm. Hit apply again. Okay, that is that. Then let's check this. The height should be 2400 mm and hit apply. That is that. Okay, what about this? The height should be 2400 and hit apply. Okay, that is all. Those ones are settled. Let's go back to our floor plan and continue our work there. This is our floor plan. Okay, all these are supposed to be, let me match property. To match property, you use MA. By the way, this is match type or properties, and match this like that so that they will be of the same text. And I have, let me drag this one to here. I can copy this one holding on control and dragging it to copy it there. Okay, I can shift this one a little bit. Okay, that is that. Then I need to add our furniture to it. To add furniture, you can load your furniture from other projects if you don't have it. And let me go to our project that is open at the background. This is the project. If I go to the ground floor and I want to load this one into the project, all this one does not need host. Since they don't need host, I'm going to copy all of them and I'm going to copy them and paste in our current file. So I hit on copy and go to our plan, close the hidden window and go to our plan, and I'm going to paste. Click OK. And let me paste it outside here. Okay, this is my dining. I move it here and I hit on spacebar to position it properly. Okay, this is my bed. I drag it and use my arrow key to position it properly. I can equally use my control, holding on control and copying it. I use my space bar to position it like that, and I can move this bed to here and use my space bar to position it like that and position it properly. And this is I drag this one to here and I move this one to here to the center. No, I move this one here and use my space bar to position it, drag it to the center. Then this is my wash hand basin. I drag it there, use my space bar to position it properly and move it there. And I'm going to copy this, move this one there, move this bathtub there. Then we need WC. CS is create similar, and I'm going to use my space bar to position it. I can move this one to this place. Okay, then I need wash hand basin. Select this wash hand basin and use Control to copy it, then drag it and position it here. Okay, let me rotate it by 90 and press enter. Then use spacebar to toggle it and drag and place it. I'm going to select this, create similar, and use my spacebar to position it. Then I need the wash hand basin, select it, use create similar, and I will position it here, and I'll also position it here. It's still active. Okay, and then I want to create a similar of this one. Type CS. CS is my shortcut for create similar, and I'm going to place this one here. Okay, it's actually supposed to be in the middle. And let me check the depth of this place. This depth is supposed to be something like, okay, like 3,000 is okay, 2,000 is not bad. Okay, and I'm going to move this door up and toggle it, then move this one out a little bit, then select the WC, press similar, and place it here like that. Okay, and this is where we have our veranda. So I select DL for detail line, leave it at furniture and go like that. I select this, use DL to delete that line, then offset this one to something like 225. Then use extend to clean this place up, and I can bring this one there. I select these two that are inside and make them overhead, and I can select this, create similar, use rectangle to have my step, and I can use dimension, place it there to make sure it is 300 mm, and press empty space. I can delete this. If I like, I can set this one to be something like 300. Okay, we are going to add line here, and if possible we can make it a step. Let me drag this one out a little bit. I can copy this, then use trim. Let's save our project and trim that. That's our step to the maze room, and I'm going to add step to here, and can make it 300. Press enter, and we go like that. I can select this and copy, then use trim to trim it, and like that. And I can see that the dimension text is a little bit big, so I can reduce it to something that is more okay. What I have here, I can reduce it to something like 1.7 if that is going to make it better, and hit apply. Okay, it's better. Okay, so I will not be able to do everything now, but that is how you can add graphics to your plan. Okay, and I hope you benefit something from this video. If you do, make sure you give me a feedback, and if your feedback can be in form of video, I will appreciate it. Okay, thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next video. Bye.